Hello everybody, Hayden Klein here from HK Digital Reviews, and I'm here today with a new review of the new JPEGMAFIA album, All My Heroes Are Cornballs. JPEGMAFIA is easily one of the most recognizable people right now in the underground rap scene, almost to the point where I don't even know if you can say he's underground anymore, because he really is starting to gain a massive popularity, mostly due to the fact that Anthony Fantano from the Needle Drop has done a lot of, or at least said a lot of positive things about his music, including his last album being number 3 on his list for best albums of the year. And JPEGMAFIA's album Veteran was also on my best albums of 2018 list for a variety of reasons. His album, for the most part, was unpredictable, it was fun, and it was all over the place. But it was all over the place in a way that just was interesting, was actually kind of funny, actually really funny. There was a lot of moments on Veteran that were really funny, entertaining, and the thing that was the best about the album was that you never knew what was going to happen next. No matter how many times you listen to this thing, you didn't know what track was going to come up next. You was like, oh boy, what's going to happen next? And all of a sudden you start listening, like, oh yeah, this track's next, cool, let's go, blah blah blah. It was a great album. It was structured perfectly, and his style was just so fun and unique that I couldn't help but give this album a ton of more listens. So now I would say Veteran's probably in my top 10, top 5 albums of 2018 now. But so I was kind of surprised to hear that Peggy, JPEGMAFIA, was already working on another album. And the surprise was given to me after he released his new song, Jesus Forgive Me, I Am a Thought. Now, JPEGMAFIA is a guy that you have to take seriously, but you can't take too seriously. If you take him too seriously, you're going to ruin your enjoyment for any song or any album that he's ever made. You will not enjoy it if you take him all the way seriously. And this is one of those times where you have to take him serious to a point, but you also got to realize he has a humor to him. He has a humor side to him. He's basically on this track making himself out to be a thought, a girl, somebody who's done a lot of guys and stuff like that. And he does it in a way that's, in a way, a little bit classy, funny, serious as a heart attack as well, though. And so when I first heard this track, I was immediately happy to hear it. This was something that was different, yet it didn't stray too far away from what he did in Veteran. So I thought this is the best kind of progression we could have right now. And lo and behold, the next track, Beta Male Strategies, showed even more Veteran influence, the more abstractness that album had. This one has the abstractness, but it's calculated in a way and made in a way to where there's almost like a catchiness to it. It's really odd. So, 2 amazing singles right off the bat, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, how much better can this get? Well, also, if you ever look at JPEGMAFIA's YouTube, you'll see he's been doing this disappointed series. He's been saying that he's going to disappoint everybody with this new album for a long time, and he decided to have some of his friends, such as Kenny Beats, particularly the one I'm going to talk about right now, in this episode, that he showed some songs from and had him pretend that he actually didn't like it when in reality he actually did like it. And they showed a small clip of the Dots freestyle. So that was another preview I had going into this album. I fell in love with that beat. I did all I could to try to find that beat somewhere, some way, somehow to find that song before it was released, but I couldn't. But it's on this album. I couldn't be happier, to be honest with you. So going into this album, simple put, I was expecting something fantastic. I was expecting something that at least was better than Veteran, at the very least. It had to be better. There's no way it was just not going to be. There's going to be 18 tracks in this thing. If he continues with what he did in Veteran, but progresses somehow in this album, this is going to be an absolutely fantastic release. And sure enough, I guess the only thing I have to say about this at the beginning is I'm just disappointed that I was not disappointed in this project, like he told me I was going to be, because this thing is actually amazing. Again, this album starts off with Jesus Forgive Me, I'm a Thought. And it's a great opening track, great production. It's got the abstractness to it. It's definitely not something that's normal. It's something that's smooth, but yet kind of hard to kind of find a little steady beat for it. But him flowing over top of it just sounds fantastic. His lyrics are pretty great as well. You know, I've already said a lot about this song I liked already. It's definitely one of the moments on this album that I think he's hit peak 10 out of 10. This is definitely a 10 out of 10 song, and this is not the only one on here. There are multiple 10 out of 10 tracks. I guess I'll just list them off and give you a little summary of them right away. Later on in the album, like a few tracks later down the road, we have the track PTSD, which starts off a little bit like a song from his past album Veteran would, being a little bit oddball, like kind of weird with like the vocal samples that he's got going on. Except this sounds a little smoother. We have some prettier sounding synths that are going on, which he does fantastically throughout basically the entirety of this album. There's not really one album, or one song on this album, I should say, where he doesn't add a sense of beauty to what's going on. And it's interesting how he does that, and I'll get to more about that later. But on this particular track, it starts off, again, with that weirdness from Veteran, and when the beat finally kicks in, he starts rapping. The beat that comes with it and the melody just sounds amazing. It's beautiful, but it has a slight amount of fierceness to it, which is backed up amazingly by JPEGMAFIA's amazing flow, his funny but serious lyrics that you gotta love. And he has 2 verses on here that are just fire, absolute straight fire. Some of the best verses of the year come from this album, and at least 2 of those are from this song. And I just love how after all this goes on, the ending of the track is just a silly little thing. And this is where my whole point about you can't take him too seriously comes in. He's not meant to be taken fully seriously, because he's going to have little bits of this on almost every track. Something that makes the song hilarious or funny in some way. A little goofy. And that's what I like about his style, because you can just have fun just enjoying what's going on. And this track is one of those fine examples. The next track we have is a Post-Verified Lifestyle, which, yes, making a little bit of a Twitter reference on here, which you're going to hear a lot of on this record. This is a very social construct type of record, which he talks a lot about the social problems, mainly with media, social media, that he talks about on this thing, and how people act on there and stuff like that, but also has a lot of just regular social issues as well he puts on here. And this is kind of one of those things, I guess you could say. Right off the bat, he just starts off sounding aggressive as hell. One of his most aggressive moments on this album appear at the beginning of this track, which is odd, because this is kind of a lo-fi beat that he's rapping over, that he's made. And keep in mind, all these beats that that's on this record, should say, JPEGMAFIA created. This isn't like some other person came in and produced it. This is all JPEGMAFIA. He made his own beats, his own lyrics. He raps his own things, except when he has features come on. That's the only thing that's not his, is when he has features come on. Everything else is totally him. He's 100% behind all the mixing and everything like that, which I think makes this album even more impressive. But still, anyways, Post-Verified Lifestyle starts off smooth. Rapping is aggressive as hell. Lyrics are pretty great still. And then there's a transitional point, and it just starts getting so much smoother, ridiculously smooth. Like, it gets to the point where the beat and the melody and everything is just so smooth. It's like if R&B became psychedelic. It's just like one of those extremely chill, just groovy kind of deals that just, I bet a lot of people would just like get extremely fucking high to. Not me personally, but I know people. And we also have the track Dots Freestyle, which is or I should say Dots Freestyle Remix, which, if you don't know, Dots means Don't Overthink Shit, which is a YouTube show by rap producer Kenny Beats, who invites some of his, usually his rap friends, onto the show where they'll talk, have a good time, say some funny stuff, and then while they're doing that, he'll be making a beat, and then the rapper will go on and freestyle over that beat. This is from the first ever episode of that, where JPEGMAFIA came out and they did that. And the original was fantastic. Kenny Beats' production and his beat that he created was extremely hard, very aggressive, and JPEGMAFIA basically went over that and did amazing things. Dropped some pretty great lyrics, which I'll talk about in a second. But what he did was he basically got rid of that beat, redid his freestyle, saying the same things, and made probably one of my favorite beats of 2019. This thing sounds fantastic. The bass, like, it penetrates deeper than most bass does. Like, yeah, most bass like hits you and stuff like that. This one, like, it feels like it just comes out of you. It just full on just like bursts out of you, because it's just so much heavier sounding, almost in a way. But yeah, it's so smooth. And the melody is basically the synth and a sample of fire. Yeah, a sample of fire. That's what most of the melody is, but it sounds fantastic still. And when it comes to the chorus of the song, the beat still stays there, stuff like that. But while over this verse, the main verse of the song, he really does deliver some hard, but and also very funny bars at the same time. Now keep in mind, I do have to censor myself a little bit because there's a rap song, and there's a word that I really can't say, so I'm just gonna put the word they, even though it's supposed to be 2 syllables, where it's supposed to go, but you'll get the same thing. So basically it goes, I killed Rock, now I'm sending bullets at your zombies, you never haunt me, they try to Vietnam me, but I've been playing with pistols since you were watching Toonami, which I think is a great line, because it references the fact that he actually is a veteran from the military. He actually did go do some service in Iraq, as well as do some stuff in Kuwait, and I think even Japan and a couple other places. Honorably discharged though, so all good there. But yeah, and then right after that, he has a line that just makes me laugh because I didn't realize he said it the first couple times I heard the song. But when I was like looking up the lyrics after this album came out, when he says this line, I'm not a rapper, I'm white trash, and I'm mocha body. Like, Jesus Christ. But again, it does show the humor side that JPEG has when he does his music, and I love it. And to really make the song even better, Buzzy Lee comes on, gives a verse that, she's a beautiful singer, and she shows on here with some pretty decent, nice lyrics that do kind of go against what was happening with JPEG's verse, but that's okay. It still sounds fantastic. It's beautiful. And then the outro of the song is interesting. It's actually happy. The rest of the song didn't sound so happy. This actually sounds pretty happy. That's a nice way to transition to the next track of the song. Last track that I would say is a full-on 10 out of 10 on this album would be Poppy, I Miss You. It's the final track, the closing track to this record. And yeah, again, the beat is fantastic. The melody that they have has a slight darker edge to it. Almost kind of like eerie, but not really. But you can kind of sense there's a little bit of a darkness going on here. And then he really just kind of like goes off a little bit on this part. Now, there are some lyrics on here that I really have to say this again. You can't take him seriously. Not thoroughly seriously. He does have... These lyrics probably do have something that's charged behind them, but to take them full on seriously will make you actually probably mad. Depending, I guess, on what race you are. Like, when you have lyrics like, target practice on an Aryan, redneck tears with a beverage, ha. Dead cops on my songs, that's hilarious, which is a reference to one of his songs back in his days called I Just Killed a Cop, Now I'm Horny, which, that's a little bit rough. But again, when I say you can't take JPEGMAFIA serious, this is the kind of stuff I mean. Because he doesn't really think this or think that it's hilarious when cops die, but he is a person that does not give a shit. He will say things to bring a shock value and to make a situation either become more serious or completely just take the seriousness down. But yeah, he definitely on here basically just shows that, like, he can say all this stuff, but he knows the majority of his audience is still white people, which is apparently seems to be pretty true. Because if you ever go to see his concerts, you will definitely find a lot more white people there than black people. That's pretty true. Not to say he doesn't have people in minorities that actually like his music. That's not true, but you will find that at a lot of his shows. That's the case, and he knows that, and that's why he's basically saying he can say this stuff. He can like say that he hates white people, which he actually does kind of say on this song, and it does not matter because people are still gonna buy his music, and he's correct. I will definitely buy this album. So he's got a point there. Because he does make music that's good enough to where, in my opinion, you can overlook stuff like that. And really, when people say they have a problem with hearing this, well, our bitch asses let Johnny Rebel stay. So, in a way, this is kind of getting back at that, which he has every right to do so, trust me. But anyways, the ending of the song, I believe, if I wrote down the right notes, yes. Yep. It basically ends off in like a drone, and a synth drone with much eerier, layered synths that kind of lead this album out into infinity, ends this thing off. And again, these are just the songs that are 10 out of 10. There's a ton of other fantastic tracks on this thing that I will definitely go over, because there are just tracks that were just so close to becoming 10s. This album was almost full of just straight 10s, which would have made end of the year song listing extremely painful to do. For tracks that came so close to being a 10 out of 10, which the only reason why they're not is just because I just didn't enjoy them enough to label them as a 10 out of 10. We have the two-part track, Rap Grow Old and Die and No Child Left Behind, which is a song that starts off that has kind of like a noise hop kind of deal with the production. Very noisy-like again. Decent rapping by good old JPEGMAFIA, da-da-da. But the second part of it really takes more of like an R&B churn, which happens a few times on this record. I'm actually really surprised by. That sounds good. Like, I didn't think that like experimental R&B would be something I would enjoy, but it's on here, and here we are, and I like it a lot. But yeah, we have that on the second part there. He's able to transition it too between the two pretty well. The song Keenan Kel, or Keenan versus Kel, I might as well say, also has a great transition too. Starts off pretty smooth and it has some abstract influences within it, but then the Kel part, I guess if you want to call it, just transitions perfectly into like this alarm kind of sounding thing going on, where he's got aggressiveness going on. The beat sounds a little bit more aggressive. Another fantastic track on this record. I mean, really, looking through this track listing, there's so many songs I love. Like the title track, All My Heroes Are Cornballs. He shows that his singing voice is actually pretty good. The little bit of autotune used on his voice is done so perfectly. Makes the song sound so much better. Makes the fact they can rap and kind of sing at the same time, like, shows that talent a lot more. And I really, really, really enjoy that about this particular song. There's also some lines on it that I like a lot that I'm about to pull up here. The one that really gets me, and really looking at the social structure of what's happening right now, you know, this one line here, if I can just find it real quick on my phone. Where is it? Oh yeah, and it's just the one line that I really enjoy. How do we go from Anne Hathaway to Ann Coulter? And I'm thinking to myself, God damn, how the hell did we do that? We went from something that was popular, like Anne Hathaway, that was so great. Now we got these very odd conservative ideologies, not like normal conservative ideologies, because I can see some reason behind the normal stuff, but the odder ones like that Ann Coulter would present that are getting a lot more attention than they should be. I really question myself, how the hell did we let that happen? How did we go from Anne Hathaway to Ann Coulter? Big step down. Big step down in America. Humongous step down. And if we're going to be that kind of person and even go at looks, major step down. But again, this song ends with this funny kind of outro where it's just him ordering food for his friend from Wendy's. And him, in a way, kind of showing like his social anxiety, trying to like speak to this person on the other side, and he's like having a hard time trying to order. It just, I don't know, I just kind of relate to that. It's just kind of funny. It's random, but at the same time, I think a lot of people could relate to this fact. Honestly, though. But yeah, again, another fantastic track off a record that is pretty great. Another song that I really want to talk about right here is Prone! Exclamation point, all caps. There's a reason for that. This is easily the most aggressive song on this record, and under 2 minutes. Yeah, this song is not only aggressive, but there is just some extremely hard lines and bars on this that I just like listening to it. I'm just like, God, like the one. When I see him, I'm gonna send him to the Lord. One click, we gonna empty his cart, as if like emptying the cart at like Amazon or something. When you buy something, you empty the cart one click. Click also being like a gun. Like, Jesus Christ. And that's not even the best part. Towards the end of this verse, bullets to the neck and the backbone, felt it, no stopping. One stop turned Steve Bannon into Steve Hawking. Fuck. Like, holy shit, dude. But like, damn, that's just some great lyricist right there. Very hard. Probably one of the hardest bars of the year. Like, it takes somebody with balls to say stuff like that on a rap song, but he damn it, he did it. I'm glad somebody did it. Free to Frail is another point on this album where JPEG Mafia just adds a sense of beauty to what's going on. Like, again, the beat sounds so smooth. The female vocalist that he has on here, whose name is Helena Deland, if I said that right, or if I even wrote that down correctly. I probably did both wrong. But, anyways, you hear her humming to start this thing off with a smooth beat. And really throughout, this entire beat just sounds so lo-fi, so smooth, so beautiful at the same time. R&B-esque, again, has that R&B side to it that actually makes this just sound so much better than it really should. And JPEG Mafia, again, nice flow, much smoother kind of flow to it. This is really more of a chill song on here. And to end the song off, Helena's beautiful singing just takes on through, takes us into the next track. Oh, just so nice. There's so many beautiful moments on this record that JPEG Mafia usually just doesn't do. And he did it on this record. And again, this is one of them. And in all honesty, those were like my favorite songs on this album. But looking through, there's not a single bad track on here. Every single track on here I can listen to without a problem. I like all the songs. I like all the interludes even. Really, if I had to pick a low point on this album, if there had to be a low point, there really doesn't have to be. But if I just had to pick one low point, I guess, if I really had to, I guess I would pick the 11th track on here, which is an interlude called Life's Hard. Here's a song about sorrel, which is an African drink apparently. It's not a bad interlude by any means. I just guess it's the one that I guess if you're going to forget about anything on this record, it'll be that particular track. Again, though, it's not bad at all. I think it's actually pretty decent. His voice on it, I think, is kind of nice. A lot of people think that his singing voice on it's a little bad. I've definitely heard much worse from a lot of other bigger artists, so I'm not too worried about it. And yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of tracks on here that I do like, such as, Grimy Waifu, which is interesting. It's kind of funny how he takes the social aspect of how a lot of people like anime, and an anime girl usually is called a waifu, because people who like anime say stuff like that. And basically, it's literally about his gun, particularly about when he was like back in like Iraq serving, and how like he would treat it kind of like his waifu, and like how he was taught to treat it like it was as such. So it's an interesting track. I mean, it's not one of the stronger tracks on here. The beat's pretty just decent. The lyrics aren't bad necessarily. I just think when you compare it to the onslaught of amazingness that we have on here, this is one of the weaker tracks, maybe the weakest song. Just because I'm saying it doesn't mean I don't like it. I still love the track a lot, just not as much as the other ones. Thought Tactics is an interesting song. Really goes along well with Jesus Forgive Me, I'm a Thought, which he really brings up multiple times in this project, as if he's singing from the view of a female who does have a lot of sex often. I mean, for Christ's sakes, on Jesus Forgive Me, I'm a Thought, he even says, Lord, show me how to keep my pussy closed, for Christ's sakes. So, oh my god, just hearing a man talk about his non-existent pussy is just something that's so hilarious. And I can't help but laugh at it. And again, back to the whole serious but not too serious part of things. And looking at this more, Basic Bitch Tear Gas, which, I love the name of it. I love the titles of the songs in here, come on. Like fucking, like Thought Tactics, Free the Frail, Post-Verified Lifestyle, Basic Bitch Tear Gas. I mean, come on. Those are great song titles. You can't tell me they're not. Which is essentially, in this song, is just a cover of the TLC song No Scrubs. Where again, it sounds like he's coming from that thought character mindset. And it's a pretty great cover for being about a minute and a half. And that's about it. I don't know how he does it. How do you make an entire song pretty good in a span of about a minute and a half? I don't know, but he does it. It's a great cover. I really can't say anything less about that. And then you have these type beat tracks where it's a JPEG Mafia type beat. And then we have Buttermilk Jesus type beat, which I guess is what he imagines what it is for a white person to make a beat, I guess. I don't know. I'm just going to assume that's an instrumental. There's like no lyrics that support that, but given the tone and the jokiness that he goes with, I'm assuming he means that, but that's just me. And I guess for the tracks, that's all I have to say. I basically went over everything with the tracks. And I guess what I just love about this album as a whole is that all the songs interconnect perfectly. This feels like a 40-minute long song in a way, because if you're not paying attention, the songs transition to a new track without you even knowing it. I've listened to this thing like at least 10 times, maybe 15 or so. I love this album. And I still get lost on what track I'm on because I just kind of forget, oh yeah, this song actually ends here. And this one begins here. And again, like I said, how I wanted this album to be was like Veteran, where I don't know what's going to happen next. This is the exact same way. I still, after listening to this thing so many times, I don't know what's coming next. Really, the only thing I remember is that Jesus Forgive Me I'm a Thought is the first track, and then the one of the last tracks, like the 16th track, is the Don't Overthink Shit freestyle remix. That's it. Everything else is just so unpredictable. Not because it's forgettable. You remember what they are once they start playing, and you fall in love over and over again with those tracks, which happens to me. Because every time I listen to a song, I kind of forget that certain parts. I'm like, oh yeah, this part is great. I don't know any other artist that does that. I can't think of another album off my head where every time I listen to it, besides Veteran and this one, that I'm just like, oh yeah, what happens next? I forgot what comes up next. All the other albums, after a while that I've listened to, I'll remember what track is next and all that stuff. I can't do that with this stuff, and it's just such a fun experience going back over and over and over to these albums, and honestly feeling like you've listened to this album for the first time again, over and over and over and over again. What albums do that? Not many. This is one of those albums that does that. And again, the only other album I've heard that does that is JPEGMAFIA's Veteran, which happened just last year. And it's just amazing to me how somebody can write an album that way, write songs that way. I'm just blown away by this thing, honestly. Like, JPEGMAFIA has truly released one of my favorite albums I've heard, I don't know if I'd say in my lifetime, but definitely in the past few years. No question about that. Really an interesting piece of work he has here that all is so fun to listen to. It's so unpredictable. I love his lyrics. They're funny. They're dark sometimes. They're a little bit over the top sometimes. But I wouldn't want JPEGMAFIA any other way. He is truly one of my favorite one of my favorite rappers, in the rap scene period. Not just the underground rap scene, the entire rap scene period. He is releasing some of my favorite music I've heard the past few years. This is one of my favorite albums I've heard in a long time. This thing is fantastic. It's, honestly, I would say in a way, it's a rap masterpiece. Because it really is that good. But again, if you don't like this album, I completely understand. Because this is not something that's easy to get into. Not at all. You have to have an ear and a liking to more abstract, experimental kind of stuff. While, yes, there is stuff on here that doesn't necessarily do that to an extreme, which is much more smoother and more people can really get into it, you have to have an understanding that this is going to go that way at some point. And maybe more and more listens will make you accept this fact. It may make you like it at least somewhat as much as I do. I'm not too sure. I am in love with this thing. I'm in love with what JPEGMAFIA did in this album. But I don't know. This isn't something that I expect everybody to think is the best. This isn't like something that's as catchy as Lil Sim's Gray Area, where that was a more straightforward hip-hop record that was just fantastic all the way through from song to song. This is a more different, wild approach to hip-hop that is consistently fantastic from song to song to song. I honestly didn't know anything was going to challenge Lil Sims for Album of the Year, but I didn't expect JPEGMAFIA to really make an album that wowed me this much. And there's no question in my mind that the rating I'm about to give it, it's well deserving of this rating. It's probably never going to fall off from this rating. No question about that. This is one of the best things I've listened to this year. It probably is the best thing I've listened to this year. So, yeah, JPEGMAFIA. All My Heroes Are Cornballs. is a strong 10 out of 10. No question about it. Gold standard all the way. Absolutely fantastic record. I can't say any more about how much I love this thing. I love every minute. I love every second. There's not a point in this record where I felt lulled out, where I felt just like, okay, we need to move forward here. I love everything about this thing. This is amazing. I will be listening to this for years to come, no question about it. And damn, Peggy, keep on doing what you're doing because it's some good stuff, man. Um, that is it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell if you want to. I don't give a shit. I'd really like to talk about this album in the comments. Again, if you don't think this way, this album, I understand. This is not necessarily an easy listen. So, take it as you will. But if you want to look into something that's a little bit more unorthodox, 110% try this album out. If you want some seriousness but some dark humor or just some lighthearted humor, a mix of that, all three of those things put into it, this is 100% the album for you. So, for upcoming videos, no idea. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know when I'll be able to get this video out. I am recording this on, I think, the 28th of September. I am a little busy actually the rest of today that I'm recording this and tomorrow. So I'm gonna try to do a full-on edit probably of this on Monday. Excuse me, and get it out on Monday. Yeah, that's the plan, I guess. So you'll be seeing this probably almost at the beginning of the new month. But yeah, this just made my end of the year list a little bit harder to do because I was really starting to think I had my favorites of the year kind of all lined up. Yeah, not anymore. Things have changed. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and I seriously hope that you all have a nice day.